Hello. Sorry, my there was something on the laptop screen, like a little particle or something, and I went to wipe it off, but it's a touch screen, and it wiped the whole video off. It's like the whole video just went to the side. I went, "Oh my gosh." So I tried to go back in. It kept saying that it was still going, that it was still live, but it wasn't filming me. So I'm like trying to go back in and it wouldn't let me. So the last time that's only happened one other time. So the last time that happened, I was able to come in and just start another video and then we were able to do that. But this time it wouldn't let me start another video. So I had to permanently delete that one. And now we're here. So if you were my one watcher, you'll know what I'm talking about, or my one viewer. Um, I was just about, I don't know, maybe 7 to 10 minutes into a video when that happened. So, um, anyways, so it's 6:02 a.m. It's Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. I guess we were more than 7 to 10 minutes in, huh? Um, and my name's Jarrett Earl Casey, and I'm at my apartment in Midvale, Utah. So we were just speaking about. I'm so frustrated. How I woke up this morning, and I woke up at 4:41. Well, I got out of bed at 4:41. I don't know what time I woke up because I didn't look at the clock. I don't have a clock in my room. The only one I can look at is the stove in the kitchen. I can always ask Alexa what time it is, but I don't like doing that because I'd rather just stay in bed. So I don't even want to know what time it is unless I unless I get out of bed. So anyways, so I was laying there. I was talking about how there was a ghost or apparition in the room who was touching me a little bit. I kept trying to get to leave me alone, and then finally did. Um, and how I heard my mother's voice, but she sounded very much in distress. And she was trying to explain that she wanted me to save her. And how I was being told not to think anything with my mind because there was a price for every word that I said or thought, which I thought, well, that's ridiculous. That whoever made that up is not a very good person because there's no price just to think anything. There just isn't. And if you made that up, then that's on you. But I tried to remain quiet anyways. Up to that point, I was trying to tell her, I love you. You're perfect. You're amazing. You can do this. I noticed there was a woman or a girl also trying to tell her what to say, and she started to. So I had to cut in and be like, that's not her. That's someone telling her what to say. And then that stopped. So that was good. So, oh, and then an alien, an alien. I don't know if it's an alien, but feels and sounds like an alien when I feel their presence. Cute, most amazing, like little green aliens. Just they're amazing. So he stepped in and was speaking about the principles of or characteristics of joy and abundance, of peace, calm, happiness, patience, equality, abundance. I already said that, I think. Love, obviously, hope, grace, those things. And so I was saying how I love those words. It's okay. And I'm really drawn to those words. I love to share those words. And so it's okay. Somebody's going, this is all suspect because the old video ended and is gone and now you're here. And I'm like, I'm literally the same person. I I'm the same person that was doing that video. I'm just kind of done with technology. I mean, I'm very connected to technology, but I'm not very good at it. And I just live my life. I'm not good at. I think this is why some people in the mind, they're like, because some people a couple years ago, they're like, he'd be a great spy. And part of me was like, yeah, I would be. That'd be great. I could learn like all these languages. But now I'm like, I'd be a terrible spy because I can't keep in my mind all these restrictions. Like, okay, you can only do this and you can't do this and you can't even think that. I'm just like blah 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 blah. So, but because of that, I make stupid mistakes sometimes. So that was one of them, and I apologize. But I'm the same person. um, so, anyways, someone stepped in with saying those words, and when that happens, I was just right there with them because I was agreeing with them, and it was so when you agree with someone and they're speaking like that, and you're really deeply connected, it's like both of you are speaking at the same time. So it's them, but it's you, but it's them. Um, and so it was one of those things where he was speaking, but I was right there with him, so I was also speaking, and I didn't have in my mind the whole "I wasn't supposed to speak" thing. I up to that point I'd been pretty good at remaining silent, but there a span of time goes by and I'm being silent, but I'm kind of forgetting the importance of it, and something that I feel very strongly about, and I'm right there with them. It's both of us at the same time, and I'm speaking with them, and then she was gone, and I thought, oh my gosh, did I say too much? Was I saying too much? I wasn't even thinking. Um, and so, um, I mean, it was like, is that her? Is she okay? Is she safe? Um, Even though I see my mom here, you know, every week, sometimes a couple times a week, and she's fine, she's safe as far as I can tell, but she is very much, you can tell, struggling with life. She's kind of emotionally distressed, very stressed out, cycling through upset and fear and hope and all these things that we all experience. Um, but I mean, she's safe. But this morning, when I was hearing her voice, she was very, you could tell she was very fragile. Um, but so when that happens, I think, does my mom exist in two places? Is she here and somewhere else? I know that that's a theory that can. I mean, I was just talking to you about how it's possible that I have a body somewhere that's sleeping, um, that's hearing things. So I'm like, does she also exist somewhere else? And is she okay? But nobody talks about that kind of stuff here. So, for all intents and purposes, in this world, you can be like, "Are you okay?" Like blah blah blah, and they're like, "I'm fine." Are you? I'm fine. I'm right here. But um, because they only acknowledge one having one expression or one body. Um, and I don't know that we have more than one. I just suspect that that might be the case. It's just people don't like to talk about that because that opens up. Well, then you're here, but you could also be somewhere else. It's like, well, that is what that means. So it's just a strange world. Um, but anyways, so that conversation happened, and then we were talking about. Oh, I got out of bed. So I finally got out of bed. I made some oatmeal. Um, and we were speaking on, these people. So then I started talking about the people that want my Facebook deleted. They want me to delete my Facebook, they keep saying. And so I have to go over, no, I'm not going to delete my Facebook just because there's a voice in the mind that tells me I should delete my Facebook, even though they couple that with really manipulative statements, guilt trips, threats, um, scary sounds, um, and then they go as far as to say that I'm a terrible person because I won't delete my Facebook. I'm like, no, okay, so just because you say to delete my Facebook, I don't really trust you. You're manipulative. You're not very good people. I don't trust that you're pure of heart or that you have a pure intent. So I'm not going to just delete my Facebook just because you think that I should. My Facebook's very special to me. I see it as part of my life biography, as a journal of sorts, a place to go and remember, to express myself. Um, it's just important to me. They see it, or I'm sorry, I see it as a way to check in on people and see how they're doing. So if I were to delete my Facebook, then people wouldn't be able to check in on me and see how I was. They might get worried. They might think something had happened. So they like to be able to see that. I don't get to see all these people in life. So it's important to them too that I have a Facebook. And so and then of course I wouldn't know what unintended consequences there would be because I don't feel like these are trustworthy people saying that. And so if I were to delete my Facebook, are they going to use that to do harm or to do something that they shouldn't be, to be dishonest? I just don't trust them. And I keep saying, if I really need to delete my Facebook to help someone or save someone or to do good for the world, if it's gonna do a lot of good for me to delete my Facebook, which that doesn't make sense. But if that really is the case and I need to do that, then all you have to do is come sit down and talk to me in person and explain that to me, and then I'll do it. But I don't think I need to delete my Facebook. I think that's a falsehood. And so although I was saying that I have noticed on my Facebook feed that I don't know if it's the environment we're in or just the events of 2020 into 2021 just being a really difficult year for everyone, but I have noticed some people posting a little differently. And I try not to judge that. But there are some posts that have led me to go, okay, especially the stories at the top. I keep looking to see if I can just remove the stories portion just from even view. But from what I can tell, there's no way to do that, at least where I am. So there's always the stories at the top. So sometimes I'll see a story and I'll go, okay, I'm going to click in and I'm going to go and unfriend that person because I don't even know them. There have been two cases where, not two cases, but two times where I, for some reason, just decided I'm just going to approve every friend request I have just to see what happens. Was the first time I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I just approved. There were like hundreds and hundreds of them. Actually, I think that time there were almost 1,000. And it was very strange. I started getting all these messages and I thought, wow, this is a really weird experience. And once you start approving them, more start coming in. It's so strange. So I was like, maybe I'll do a BuzzFeed article about what happens when you approve every single friend request. But then I went through later because it got really annoying. So I went through later and started unfriending a lot of the people, but I stayed friends with a lot of them too. And then this last March, it was just before when I went up to Lehigh at Traverse Mountain, maybe a week before or a week and a half, maybe even less, maybe 5 days. I did the same thing. I just pulled it up and I was like, I'm going to approve every friend request. There were about 700 of them. And so, and all these people were like, why did he do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I'm going to approve every friend request. But anyway, so with some of them, I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to delete this person. And I feel bad, but it is what it is. And then this last 6 months, I've been a little more leery of new friend requests, although I've still approved of some there are some people in the mind, that guy who's like, you can't approve any friend requests. Don't use your Facebook. Don't even look at your Facebook. I'm like, okay, delete your Facebook. I'm like, not going to delete my Facebook. But you're right. I shouldn't be on it quite as much. I mean, it's not that I shouldn't be. I just, it's not like the most productive thing to do to sit on Facebook. But anyways, so that guy is kind of crazy. And he's just very manipulative and controlling. And he says he's really conservative to a point, but that they don't speak to people. It's like a matter of principle. It's like, oh, okay. Well, there's power in speech. There's freedom in speech. There's freedom of speech, right? And I was just talking about that in the kitchen. So yeah. Anyway, so it's been an interesting morning. Last night, oh my gosh, there's been so much going on. I was just having a lot of memories. Let's just say that. Similar experiences to Jesus Christ, but at a younger age. I'll just say that. So I remembered those, and it led to this whole kind of onslaught of not onslaught, deluge, but not delusion. Deluge, which means just a flow, an open flow of continuous memories. So a deluge of memories would be, it kind of opened up all these memories that started flowing out. And so I started having all these memories about people that I've known in the premortal existence or outside of time, and kind of our travels through time. Not that we're time travelers, but you just all of a sudden are in different times. And some of those experiences, we had Jesus Christ come with us to show us his experience of being tempted in the desert, and we had to undergo the same temptations just to see what our answers were. And it was some of them were really funny. Just some of them were really funny answers. But memories like that, and of course we talked about the concept of the devil. And in the mind over the last few years, this has been controversial to some people off and on, but what I've always said is, I'm like, there is no devil. There really isn't. There's only God. There's only God. There is no devil. You all made him up. And if you need there to be a devil, because some people so fervently need there to be a devil, for some reason, because they hate the devil, and they need something to hate, they need something to fear, they need something to blame. So in their mind, they just need a devil. And so I keep telling them, if you need a devil, then it's you. So because there is no devil, there's only God. But I did talk about how there's someone I know from the premortal existence who had lived very, very long, and is Christian, and also knows Jesus Christ, obviously. But no, it's not me. People are so funny. And who basically, everyone got together and acknowledged that all these people, for some reason, are obsessed with needing a bad guy, basically. So he, having been one of the most experienced, a lot of us were very innocent people, beings of light, right? We were just like very, very innocent. And so he was like, you know what? I can protect a lot of you from ever having to experience or know some of these things. I've lived here on earth for a long time. I'm Christian. I'm a good person. I know Jesus Christ. I'll go ahead and be that. I'll take that title. And we'll all know that I'm not really that person, but if the people need one, I got what it takes to keep the people I love protected, and I can make the hard decisions, and I know I'm a good person. So, um, but now it's like we look upon the world, and it's just so scary. And it used to be people would say the devil was just someone who would try to tempt you, or who would guide, who would tempt you to lead a life that wasn't strict to the commandments. So if somebody told you, hey, it's okay to go have sex even though you're not married, then people would say, oh, that person speaks for the devil. So the devil was this person who, in their minds, who basically was okay with, or would tempt you to lead not a strictly adherent life to the commandments, or to God's law, as it's called. So, but now, so this is in a community of very faithful, very, very, very good and faithful people. But there are evils in this world that are much scarier than this being who volunteered to be called the devil. Very, very, very much. And so now we all look upon this world, and I think Jesus Christ is included in this. And it's very concerning. This is a very concerning world. Hey, sorry, it just, my connection was unstable, of course. I hate being where I am because I have no say over my technology or my connection or anything like that. But people are so obsessed with those things that they put enormous amounts of resources and time and energy into those pursuits of trying to track down those people that they completely turn the other cheek, or sometimes even of the actual evils of the world, which are people who are willing to do just terrible, terrible, terrible things to one another. Just really awful, scary, terrible people. And it's just so scary. This is such a scary world. And there's I don't know what to do in this world. I don't know, I don't know what to do in this world. This is a scary world. It's a beautiful world, and it's perfect. It is. Its future is bright and perfect. And that's a guarantee. It's a promise. And I think what a lot of people are gathering here in this time and place and space to do is to bring that promise to now, to the present moment, to extend the promise through time, that it might cover even more lives and more experiences. And so that's something that can happen, that we all have power to do in this now moment. But we have to choose that promise. We have to choose that future. We know it's there. It's there. It's waiting for us. It will always be there. It's ours. It's ours. And it's ours to share. It's ours to receive. And we can receive it even here and now, even for one another and even for ourselves. And what a beautiful way to experience the extension of the kingdom of heaven, or of God, into your life, to allow that perfect existence to be here. And not and sorry, it's and um our it's okay. So that's our choice that we have right now to end punishment, to end judgment, to stop using fear and manipulation and lies to get people to do things, to stop being so unwilling to just speak. I was just in the kitchen, and I said this in the video that accidentally got swiped away. There's power in speech. There's freedom in speech. There's freedom of speech, and that's something we each have to choose to do, or choose to at least be willing to do, and that's also recognized. Um, Even if people silence you or they try to silence you, if you're trying to speak out, it is known. It's known, and you're honored for that. Um, that's that's that is honored. That is because it's honorable. And I remember, I remember having that. I woke up from a dream once, and I saw a picture of Barack Obama shaking a little girl. Sorry, it's saying the connection is unstable again. There we go. It said the connection was unstable again. So we're just talking about Barack Obama shaking this girl's hand, and I was sleeping when I saw this image, and I immediately, with the image, was a message that said, "An honorable future does not ask an honorable past." And I don't think it was saying that he has a dishonorable past or anything. But it someone said it was a message from the Klingons. um, so, and I did think that actually. But an honorable future does not ask an honorable past. A dishonorable past. Oh my god, an honorable future does not ask a dishonorable past. And so, but it's honorable to want to speak and to tell the truth and to just be honest and open and full of mistakes sometimes, to just let it flow and not be so measured or practiced or um hey or careful, right? um and for some people that's so difficult, but I think it's really important. Ow. And it's part of a whole movement of expression and of speech. And some people like Barack Obama are great orators, and they can just speak. I remember I was at Smith's once at Fort Union, and I was thinking about awakening. I was just speaking about awakening, and Barack Obama's voice came in, and they were my thoughts, but his voice was coming out, and it was this powerful speech. And I think we were probably thinking it together. So was it me? Was it him? It doesn't matter. But here he was, somewhere through space and time, making this speech, and I was just shopping at Smith's. But we were making this speech together in that moment. And he's such a good speaker. I don't think, even though I was right there also making that speech at Smith's as I was looking for Impossible Burger, which they didn't even have at that location. I was so upset. But I don't think I could have made that speech as well, right? So for me, and I say stupid things and people get upset, but for me it's just this conversation that's important. Although I could try and make a speech sometimes. I did take a public speaking class once in Roy, Utah. at a satellite campus of Weber State University. Um, and you know, although I think conversations are so important to have in person, there's nothing that will ever replace that. And I keep inviting people to come out and show up and speak with one another in person. There's so much power and freedom in doing that, in choosing that, and in making that choice your own. Um, so what else? There's so much. There's just so much. Um, Sorry, there's like little floaty hairs. I'm like, I feel like Winona Ryder on with the pizza when she does that. It's so cute. Um, but I keep praying this will all end up well and like better than well. Because now, of course, there's all these things coming out in the English language. I hate this part of awakening, and I just not the hugest fan of the English language, but it's my native tongue, here. So, but they're like, oh, and you can do that as well, like also, but it's like as well, like you're at the bar, you're like gonna get the well. They're like your low lives. You could do that as well. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, when I say it, I mean like also or too, or or like, or we could just say you can do that. I can do that. You can do that. See, same thing. You don't have to do it as well. Or two instead of one, because one is obviously everyone wants to be number one. My brother he'd be like, well, I'm number one. I'd be like, well, I'm number two, and two is bigger than one. And he'd be like, so anyways, so I can do that, you can do that. See? Isn't that wonderful? We're the same. We're equal. We're all equal members of God's perfect creation. And so that's the beauty of God and of heaven. And that's the truth. And it's available to each and every single one of us. So, anyways, oh, those people. they're they're working something out, someone says. So they just don't ever want to speak to me for some reason. And they're always trying to do everything out of order. They don't do anything they're told. And then when they finally do, out of spite, they like do it all out of order because we're supposed to speak first and talk about things and establish kind of benchmarks or expectations so that people don't get scared, because sometimes when something happens that's foreign to your experience, even though it could be really cool or whatever, people can sometimes be scared of that. And so it's healthy to speak and to discuss and explain and educate and set expectations so that when it happens, people aren't so scared. And they may experience a little bit of fear, but they're like, okay, we talked about this. Okay, I'm going to do it. Okay, that's okay. Everything's okay. And so they can talk themselves through it until they're no longer scared. But when you just throw someone into something, they can be very fearful, and that can kind of go off into something. And so every time you're told to do something, you need to do it, and you need to be honest and open about it with everyone that's involved. You sit them down and you speak to them and you just let them know. And so these people choose every time not to do that. And so every time it ends in disaster because they aren't doing what they're told. So they still have neglected to even take the first step in allowing this entire perfect plan of human perfection and progress and restoration, because they haven't sat the people down that are involved and spoken to them openly, honestly, and directly. So they continue to neglect to do that. And even then, they have all these strange requirements that they think at you that aren't required. And they do it all out of order. So what I'd been hearing is they were like trying to get me to look picture perfect. It's like, okay, well, I'm already picture perfect. Okay, which means I'm perfect. I'm perfectly presentable and acceptable person. I may not look 100% perfect. I may have yellowing or crooked teeth. I have wrinkles. I'm short. I'm not muscular. My hair is just like, I don't ever know what to do with my hair. This is from JCPenney. And St. John's Bay. And we and so they're like, we're gonna make him look picture perfect, but he needs to do this, and he has to do this, and he needs to walk away from this, and he has to prove this, and he has to show us this, and then he has to do this, and then he has to do this crazy thing, and then it'll start to happen. But then maybe then people are going to be like, whoa, what's happening? It's not even him. Look at him. And then he might get stopped by a police officer and have to show his ID, and they'll accuse him of not even being him. And it's like, okay, so you're all insane. So what we need to do is we need to talk. We need to sit down and talk. And of course, I'd love to look picture perfect. Okay, so first, I already am. I'm a perfectly acceptable and presentable human being. And of course, my looks could improve. I could look like a movie star or Prince Charming. I could be much better looking. So those are both true. But for some reason, these people are obsessed with everything needing to be picture perfect. And so I, through my whole life, am never good enough. Even though I am good enough. So it's all very concerning, the choices that people continue to make again and again about what worth is and who is worthy and what it means to be a perfect or perfectly acceptable or presentable human being, a child of God who is here in love. So I invite everyone to revisit their judgments. And it's okay to love beauty and perfection. And those things come, some people are just born with it, right? And some people learn it with time and great focus and effort. And for some people, it just happens overnight, right? Whoa, I just woke up like this. But and all of that's okay. But the most important thing is that we can see through that and see the pure and perfect people that we're presented with each and every day in our lives. And it can be harder. It's a challenge for each of us. I used to be so good at it. Not always. And now it's very difficult because I've been placed in this environment that's very difficult. And that kind of starts to get worse. And so some people were suggesting that I was placed here so that I could get better, so I could get the help I needed. But the opposite is happening. It's a very scary place. And everyone's very manipulative. They're very evasive, and they're just not really being their true selves. And people would look at me, well, you're not being your true self. Your true self is charming and intelligent. And I'm like, well, you're right. I mean, and I am being my true self. This is me. This is me right now. And that's okay. That's perfect. So, anyways, I love all of you. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's still so much we could talk about. I'm gonna plug this in, but it's 6:41. I have nothing scheduled for my day. Oops. Yeah, nothing. Um, so I'm probably just gonna walk around and pace. I tried reading a book yesterday because they were like, read a book. That's considered productive. I'm like, oh, okay. And I started reading this book called Moonwalking with Einstein. And I bought it years ago because I thought, oh, that would be good. Like it's the secret to remembering everything. Um, and so I started reading it, and then I started remembering having read it before, and then I realized that one of the characters in it was speaking directly to me through the pages, and I think he was flirting with me, and I felt the flirting, and I thought, oh, these are strange feelings. And then I thought, well, this is kind of creepy. And so I threw the book in the garbage. Oops. So, so I guess I'm not going to read that book, and I don't know what I'm going to read today. Well, I was reading Luke, and I told you about that. So, um, yeah. Anyways, have a wonderful day. I love you, and I love you.